July 18th, 2019 to order. Eric, would you call roll?
Commissioner Pye?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Hartman? Commissioner Rivers?
Here.
President Magara?
Here.
You'd all stand. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Follow after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of our minutes. I will entertain a motion.
Was that here? Still. I'll entertain a motion. I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes of this is the Personnel and Sub-Finance Committee meeting and the meeting of the regular meeting of the Board of the Commissioners of Zion Park District dated 20 June 2019.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, so we don't have any guests today. Agenda. How is our agenda today? Do we need any changes to that?
We don't need an executive session, so we can strike that off of the agenda.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for the agenda to mark changes as noted.
I'll second. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to make the motion. Yeah.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Any commissioners have any comments they'd like to make?
Fireworks were awesome.
Thank you.
I attended the golf punctuation golf day. I'm a very important movie and how you staff handled the big crowd.
Yeah, Marilyn said there was a lot of people there, right?
Right, so it was the Golfer Appreciation Day at Shepherd's Crook. There were 270 golfers on Friday, and they just had a really great weekend. 240 golfers on Saturday and 220 golfers on Sunday. So that place was hopping all weekend. And it did work out to be a nice weekend. We had the lake breeze. Remember, it was getting hot, but with the lake breeze out there, that makes a huge difference.
And he gave a discount to the golfers.
For Golfer Appreciation Day, yeah, it was a discounted rate, and then they all got a burger.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you
Take
know,
up golf.
For one day.
yeah, so that was good.
Okay. Any report from the attorneys?
No.
Okay. All right, so now we need to approve the bills. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. I entertain a motion to pay the total unpaid bills left over in the amount of $376,650.05 presented for approval. Is that incorrect or correct?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Backside.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
To be approved for $500,456.59.
The unpaid ones?
The unpaid bills
Yeah.
were $407,992.
The top.
The unpaid ones, the top one. For the unpaid?
And the unpaid bills were $92,555.67. Bring us to a total of $500,456.59. Did you get that correctly?
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Eric, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers?
Aye.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
President Magara?
Aye. Okay. Let's see, we have got the director's report.
Yeah. So, 4th of July, I did include an update of what happened on the 4th of July. It was a very hot day. Once again, the crowd was very light at the beginning of the day, out in the heat of the afternoon, even though we really started at 3. It was pretty hot. And then the weather, I think, it was surprising to me how few people there were in the park picnicking compared to previous years. It was not even close to what it's been the past couple of years as far as people out in the woods in the park. I just think the heat probably and the threat of rain, because the threat of rain was really there all day. So we finally, we did have a nice group come for the Razzle Dazzles. They always have families that come. That was good. The first band after them, the Lakes Area Community Band was excellent. They played patriotic music. I think that's what people were looking for in the past. So was really happy with that performance, but it was lightly attended. The second band did a good job. There wasn't a lot of people there for them. And then the storm came through where there was thunder and lightning, so we did have to evacuate the park. That was a tougher job than we thought. People got under the tents, and since there wasn't a wind issue, I did not make people leave the tents. If the wind would have come up, we would have had to have gotten everybody out of there, which that would have been a bigger problem. But people did come inside. They brought the kids in. They were running around in here, so that was good. Luckily, really, it subsided after about 20 minutes, a half hour, and we could go back out. And the band, that was the last band, was really good. They were set up out there. They moved back in the band shell and made sure that everything was turned off, so there wasn't any issue with electricity and lightning. But then they, and even one of their lead guitar guys, like, you want me to bring my acoustic in and entertain people inside? I said, well, let's wait and see, what's going to happen here. But I appreciated that offer. So they started about 8:20, and we knew the fireworks were going to be a little bit late. So I said to them, I'm like, if you guys could just keep playing, that would be great. I would appreciate it. I'm hoping the fireworks will be ready to go by 9:45. That was kind of what we were shooting for with the fireworks people. And they played into the fireworks starting, which was great. And by the time we came to that time, I couldn't believe how many people were in the park. It was packed. Totally packed. After it was empty at 8:20. There was nobody out there. So that was a good test. I don't remember ever evacuating the park on the 4th of July before this, and it worked out really well. We had the staff ready to assist, it all worked out, and no incidences, which was good. So I did put the report in there. Our day wasn't terrible, but we probably it was really similar to what we spend every year.
Came in under budget a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. A little bit. And just so you know, July is Parks and Recreation Month. That's usually we use that theme for our 4th of July event. This year it was Game On, which didn't really pertain much to our event because we weren't gaming. So we went back to our Rock the Park theme from a couple of years ago, and that's always popular, So that was good. And the last thing that I did want to talk about was the Hosa Park erosion. I did write about that in my report. We have, our steward who is out there and has sent me some pictures, and Todd went out there to look at the end of the boardwalk where it goes down to the beach, which it used to be a gradual to the beach. Now it's a drop off. The end is kind of sinking because there's nothing to hold it up. There was a big, what was that tree that was on the
Poplar.
south side? A big poplar. We've been kind of watching to see when that was going to go down, and it finally did go down. like the week before the 4th or the week after the 4th? Right after.
In a storm or just because of?
Just because it had been.
It had been eroding away.
There was,
and
but there was a high wind or a high wave report that came in for that week. So all week the waves were high, and when the lake is as high as it is, it's 4.5 feet above like where it has I think that's like almost the highest Lake Michigan has been. All the Great Lakes are high at like record levels. I don't know if Lake Michigan was one. I don't think it was. I went to a meeting about the erosion and the sand management and all that last week. So I think we need to have a conversation with coastal management about what's the best course of action for us. I'm really hoping that there is enough dune before you get to the actual boardwalk where it goes parallel to the beach that we're not going to have to worry about that. But if it goes much higher, I think we might have to. The steward for HOSA is going out on Sunday to meet with a couple of plant people, so they were going to have a conversation about that too. But
Is that something that a grant is needed?
it's happening all along the lake, so it's not just for
Yeah.
us. So when the meeting that I went to, the Army Corps of Engineers is what they've been doing is dredging sand out of Waukegan Harbor to open the harbor channel, and Evanston. The city of Evanston is the only community in the whole Great Lakes region that got on this federal grant to try to do this. It's really a pilot program of can we put sand there and make a difference. So it's going to be curious to see how that comes out. There is a sand management team up on this north shore of the lake, but it all goes south. The sand all goes south. And but the one thing the Army Corps guys said was when they do that dredging, there's always an opportunity for sand to go to Illinois Beach State Park. So I'm thinking we need to kind of get into that agreement possibly with them. And we have an agreement with them to do controlled burns at HOSA because we're right there in the middle. So we have that agreement in place. So we do work with them, and I just have to investigate further, because it's all about money, right? So for coastal management this year, we have applied for a grant for replacing the roof of the shelter, to do some path improvements out there. But I'm thinking that that's probably our next year. We should really look at, is there a way that we could get sand there? Could we get a grant to get more sand on the beach there? I think that we have someone who's monitoring the sand there for DNR, and they're monitoring at HOSA. So we've already kind of worked our way into being part of that process. But I think we have to spend some time really investigating that. But that might be a really good grant proposal next year for coastal management if they have some funding. And you learn these things as you go and you get involved with these organizations. I learned a lot going to that workshop the other night. It was Army Corps of Engineer, it was Alliance for the Great Lakes, it was there was coastal management staff there. It was a state representative that organized the event, and there was one other agency. I guess it was the Evanston Parks and Rec who is managing that pilot grant program. So it was very informative. So another good connection with our steward at HOSA, because she sent me the information about that meeting, so I went. So we're working on that.
Excellent.
And that was all that I wanted to add.
Okay. Let's move on to old business. So we've got an intergovernmental agreement with the Zion Police Department for training.
So we started to put this together before the change in mayor and attorneys for the city of Zion, and now they have a new attorney. But we did send this to them. I'm not sure that it was on a city council meeting yet. Do you know?
I don't know for sure.
I don't think it was on last night, but I started watching the council meeting and then I never finished. But I've talked to the chief about it, and so it's just probably a matter of making sure that crossing the i's and crossing the t's, dotting the i's. But I just wanted to get approval from you. So really what this says, it's like a indemnification. So if we do training with the Zion police officers, if there's something that pertains to our officers and we can do it with them, that's really what we're looking at. And that there's indemnification on both sides, that, you know, they're not going to be held liable for our officers' decision-making after doing the training. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. I don't know, do you have an opinion about it, Rick, since you're involved in it?
Well, anytime that two government agencies work together, an intergovernmental agreement is paramount. So, however they are constructed, as long as they're within the legal parameters and both parties agree and it's mutually beneficial, then I think that it's fine. I think it's fantastic that the Zion Park District is working with the local agency that's here, or the sheriff's department, you know, or somebody, and that they partner together and work. Because if one side is overlapping the other and they don't work together, then it's not good. And in this case, this creates a very good working relationship.
Right, I think it also gives an opportunity for the officers to have that opportunity to meet each other, get to know each other, because otherwise there's not a lot of opportunity for that. And then they can really feel like they can rely on each other because they're having the same training, right? So
Right.
I think that's a key. I think that, you know, makes it
Just
really
a
beneficial.
simple example is what she just mentioned, is that in training, it's key that both entities know how each other is going to react in general situations. So when they go to a disturbance in the Park District, or the police department stops somebody and it happens to be on Park District property or near each other and they're backing each other up, they know what to expect from each other. One agency that we work with regularly is the sheriff's department, so we know how they react when they come, you know, when they show up, and they know how we react. We you know, train and handle a lot of things very similarly. So anytime you have law enforcement agencies working together or in the same jurisdiction on a regular basis, it's really paramount and really key that exchange and interchange is active. The getting to know one another comes with the informal time, when you're at the training but you're joking around, carrying on, and you get to know who each other, you know, the people are. So first of all, the intergovernmental agreement is key. Second, as long as the terms are in order for both sides and they're legal, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing, so,
I do have a question.
yeah.
We'll get to it when we get to Chad's report.
Okay.
It's just a question.
Okay.
So I think it's more apropos to that one.
All right, I will entertain a motion then.
I make a motion that we enter the second governmental agreement for the payment of golf fees at the Shepherd's. Oh,
Nope, you're
that's
on
the
the
wrong
wrong
one. I knew I had the wrong one. There it is. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Yes. Pretty sure.
Well, at this point, we haven't entered into it with them, right?
We have not.
So,
We're just getting the approval right on our side.
Correct.
I make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Zion Park District and an Illinois unit of local government, and the City of Zion and Illinois Municipal Corporation for the purpose of describing terms and conditions in which the city shall provide training services to the Zion Park District officers.
I will second it.
Do we need any further discussion? Because I think you said you had a question about.
It's more on the report. They're kind of interrelated.
Well, let's discuss it now because we don't really
Yeah, we
go
don't.
through that report.
Well, he talks about it here, about, I had it pulled up. Maybe it was in this intergovernmental agreement. There we go. Huh. It was in the intergovernmental agreement.
Okay.
So I withdraw my motion. Then get the question answered, and then I'll make the motion
Okay.
again.
Well, we can have discussion after the motion. You can withdraw your motion after the discussion if you want to.
Okay, that's fine.
So you don't have to, and you don't have to immediately.
Under number 1 where it says training, it says firearms training and qualification. I kind of thought Chad had gone to firearms training to become an instructor.
Right, this was included before he did that, so, because we
Okay.
used to do firearms training with you,
Right.
with Zion, but that's probably not gonna happen. But it's in here in case there is something that we wanna do together, I guess, you know, it's not bad to
Okay.
have it in the agreement in case there is, but he is a firearms instructor, so
Okay.
they do not have to get qualified. Somebody would have to qualify him though,
Right.
so.
That'd be Sergeant Luther.
Yeah, so it's probably good that it's in here.
Okay.
But that's not gonna happen on a regular basis with all the officers.
My question's answered.
Okay, so
And you're
your
keeping your
motion's
motion?
still
Keeping the motion.
Okay. And Jesse seconded? All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Let's move on to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Zion regarding Shepherd's Crook golf rounds.
Okay, so the first thing that I do want you to understand, because none of you were here when the first agreement was made, is that this is an addendum, this is a second agreement. We have one in place that has been in place since the property was donated to the Park District from the city to build Shepherd's Crook Golf Course. That we would pay 50 cents a round for the first 10,000 rounds at Shepherd's Crook, and then $1 for anything over 10,000 rounds. And so there was a calculation that had to be made every year, and we've been doing that for 18 years. So this is really because in that intergovernmental agreement was the opportunity to make an adjustment if someone felt that they wanted to do that, okay? That was a stipulation in here that after a certain number of years, it could be revisited. So Alan asked if we could just come up with a number, so we don't have to do this calculation of how many rounds and what do we owe the city. So Eric got together with Dave Nabel, and they looked at the average over the past 6 years, which have been 6 very successful years at the golf course, right? So probably the best ones to look at, unless we went way back to the beginning. But I'm thinking they probably were pretty similar every year. And then, you know, it makes budgeting easy on both sides. Everybody knows what the number is going to be, and it's always, I mean, that's an average. Over a 6-year period, I think that's a good average. So we proposed to the city that we would like to do this, so we don't have to do this figuring out rounds, and it's just going to be a set number. So to me, it makes sense. I mean, we've always done this, and we're going to continue to do this. This is all part of that huge agreement where the property was donated. We do this, the city gives us back $7,000 for fireworks, and we're also included in the tipping fee agreements. It's all kind of part of Shepherd's Crook with the park district and the city. So it all goes back to the beginning of that, which is it's a good thing for us to be part of. It's a good agreement that we have with the city, and if they're willing to do this, I think that it's just makes it easier for everybody.
Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Hold on.
Okay.
Is it 10,000 per year or 10?
It's 18,000 per year.
No. You were saying 50,000 or don't put 10,000 around.
And then $1 for every round over that.
Is that every year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's every year. It's an annual dollar amount that is paid to the city.
And the 18,000 was the average.
Correct. Yeah, I think we're happy with that number. I think the city's happy with that number, so.
Okay. Ready? I'll entertain a motion then.
Second. So moved.
No, you have to
Make the
state it.
No.
Just read that first paragraph of it,
Yeah.
and now,
I don't have that.
oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, is it?
I think it's that one, right? The golf course one? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, I entertain a motion to continue the second intergovernmental agreement for the payment of the golf course fees at the Shepherd's Creek Golf Course between the City of Zion and Zion Park District. Now, are we including the new thing that we were just talking about?
Yeah. Oh, you can just include the dollar amount, which is
Wrong one in my hand.
And to include on or before the 1st of June of each calendar year, beginning 2020, the district shall pay the city $18,000, and the city district shall recognize and acknowledge that said payment shall represent the district's, excuse me, I can't see them all, represent the district's sharing of the golf course fees within the city.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do we need to have any further discussion? Okay, Eric, would you do the roll call?
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers,
Aye.
President McGarrett.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to bid 201905, the recommendation for the purchase of a park work truck.
So in the budget, we did budget to put together another mechanic's truck for Adam Schroeder. Terry has a truck. We've done the restructuring with having 2 mechanics now, and Adam is much more mobile, so it really does make sense to get a work truck for him because he goes to the golf courses and to the, he has tools at the garage, but he can be mobile then. And so we put the bid out. We got 1 bid back, which is unfortunate that there's only one, but we have worked with Pullman previously. This bid is a little bit over what we budgeted, and probably mostly due to the fact that it's a little bit later than like when Todd went to get the information. It was a while ago, just to kind of get a ballpark figure for the budget. And we've kind of gotten into the new year of vehicles. And also that we want it set up the way that is going to make sense. There's no sense in buying a truck that's not going to be able to set up so that he has mobile unit for his needs. But Todd has found the extra dollars in his budget to cover. So we're going to recommend that we move forward with this truck.
Okay, any questions? All right. I will entertain a motion to approve bid number 201905 for a service truck to Pullman Buick GMC Cadillac in the amount of $42,593 as recommended by the staff.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Eric, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers,
Aye.
President McGarrett.
Aye. All right, on to the XGD Systems Fairway Drainage Project.
Okay, I don't know, Alan's been talking about this, I think, since he started at the golf course. On hole 18, where you're coming into the clubhouse, the hill, the tee box is up on the hill. You kind of go down, and then the middle of the fairway is pretty high on a hill also, and then you come back, then you come down, and you go down to where it's kind of a swampy area before you go to the green. So in that downhill swale there in the middle, it is always wet. The underground, it was a clay tile type of piping, is all broken, and so it's not draining that water away the way that it should. So it's really time after the course was created, you know, I don't know, what are we on, 17 or 18 years ago. He'd really like to get that one area improved. It gives us an opportunity to work with this company. Charlie has worked with this company previously, and there are some other areas where we may want to look at working on drainage, but it gives us an opportunity to and to see how that's going to fix this. They're both convinced that it's going to make a huge difference on that fairway, which is nice. Like, that's the last hole, you know. Hate to have people have a kind of like, oh, this was a great round until I got into this mud hole that's in the middle of the fairway on the last hole. So it's a smart thing to get fixed. And so this was the quote that we had from this company, and so it's the recommendation from the golf staff that we do this drainage project and get that cleaned up, and having this company come in, we're talking about, you know, days instead of if our staff tried to do it. First of all, he'd be hard pressed to have enough people when, like in the fall, when you would want to do a project like this, and it would take much more time. And so we think that there's a good ROI on this investment on the course rather than doing it in-house. So that is the reason that we looked to do it with an outside company.
When would this potentially
He was
happen?
talking about August. So it's
They'd
probably...
have to close the course for a couple of days, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but it would be a pretty fast project. You know, you may have to close off the back half, you know, back 9 for a day or two. It sounds like they could pretty much get it in and out and be done. And it's probably, you know, when they're available. So it's going to go further into the fall, and the longer we wait to get it done. But in the fall's okay too. It's just he'd like to get it done as soon as possible. So I think it's a good recommendation. I think it's a good project to get done. We have capital money that is earmarked for those kinds of course improvements, and it's a good time to get it
And this,
done.
did you say this will be the first time we work with this company to see how they are
For
for
us,
future? For
yes.
future stuff.
But Charlie has worked with them at the course that he worked at before he came here. So there is a good recommendation by someone, you know, who works with us.
And the other two, you said there are 2 other areas that need to be done as well? Or-
I think there's actually a few other areas, but we're just going to start with this one. See how
This
this
is the
works
worst
out.
one?
Yeah, this is the worst one for sure. Because even when it gets dry, there's still
Yeah,
water
it's
there.
still
It
wet.
comes off of those hillsides, you know, because it's all in this downhill. And it's set up, there's a drain down here, but if you don't have the right underground to take it to there, it doesn't do you any good.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have to read the whole thing, and I don't say the whole thing.
I'll entertain a motion that we accept the proposal from XGD Systems LLC for the drainage proposal for Shepherd's Crook Golf Course in the amount of $17,675.
So moved.
Second? That'd be a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Eric, want to take the roll?
Commissioner Rivers,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
President McGarrah.
Aye. Okay. Last item on the agenda is a recommendation for community survey proposals.
Right, so this is part of our comprehensive plan. Moving forward, we're very excited to move forward on the community survey. I think it's time for us to get this done. We had 2 proposals that came in after we did a request. We had 5 or 6 people on our list that we sent it to, but we also advertised it out, so but we got 2 proposals. These are the 2 proposals. If you would like to look at them, you are more than welcome to. ETC is the recommendation that we're giving for the ETC Institute. Actually, both of these companies are in Kansas. That they came in both from Kansas. The ETC proposal is going to do mailed surveys. They're going to follow up with phone calls to encourage people to reply to the mailed survey. They will put together an option for people to go online and do the survey in the mailed survey and when they're making phone calls. And so that's kind of their follow-up process. The other company, their process is a mailed survey and a mailed postcard reminder. They don't have a call center, and we were somewhat concerned about that because sometimes mail is an issue. The other thing was, and the difference is, and this is probably more of a con than a pro, is that they will do everything remotely. So we'll have phone conference with them to establish the survey, and communication will happen remotely. This person suggested coming out and doing some workshops with us. But then we looked at the cost difference. This survey company was about $6,500 more expensive, and we were really concerned about not having a phone component here where they were calling people to encourage them to participate. Both of them said that we would get at least a 400 survey return rate. To get that, you probably have to send out, I don't know, the plus or minus is like 9%, so you probably have to send almost 4,000 surveys out. So it doesn't send it to every household. The other thing that this company had was that they did some more social media push, but those are not statistically valid. So that would just be like extra, and we feel like we could do that ourselves. You know, we have a good social media presence, we have a good social media following, and so, and if it's not statistically valid, that's the part that I want to have. I want to have it so that, you know, people know that we've done our homework on this. If we were going to do it on social media, we could just do it ourselves, the whole thing. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that validation that we have reached out as much as we can.
So they will work until they get that percentage?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so they guarantee that in there. So those were the same. So, you know, we're doing this a little bit differently. We're not hiring a company to do a comprehensive plan for us. We're kind of doing a lot of in-house stuff. We've talked about this before. I think there are times where it's good to have consultants come in. This is definitely one of them for this project, but we still want to be really hands-on with it. And we felt like this company was really going to provide us the opportunity to do that. And we feel confident that, we will still have a workshop with all of you so that you have the ability to look at the questions, to add questions, to talk about, we'll do that with the board and the staff, so that we make sure everybody has a voice on it. I'm doing that with our whole staff, really trying to get people to think about what are the things that are really the big questions for us. You can't make a survey that's 100 questions long, that's too long. So you have to really be strategic about it, but we feel like we can really get to that, working with this company, but also getting everybody involved in the
Do
process.
they work with other park districts?
Yes. They have quite a reference list, both of them do, quite a reference list. So Illinois park districts also, which is good because, they know how park districts in Illinois work, which is important because Illinois park districts are different than in, recreation, recreation, a lot of them are city departments or county departments in other states, but Illinois is a little more different, a little more unique with the special taxing districts. So that's our recommendation. I think we've put some real thought into it. And any questions?
Any questions? No? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal.
I'll entertain a motion that we accept the contract for community survey with ETC Institute for the amount of $18,750 for surveys.
I second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Eric, can you do roll?
Commissioner Rivers,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
President McGarrett. Sorry.
Okay, that brings us to adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
I wanted to tell you, and I should have done it in the meeting, that Carolyn